Cross Question with Ian Dale.
Hello, very good evening. It's 8:03 on LBC. Welcome to Tuesday's Cross Question. On the panel tonight, we have Baroness Arlene Foster, Chair of Intertrade UK, which promotes trade across the UK, and also a non-affiliated peer, and of course, as you will remember, former Northern Ireland First Minister. Arlene Foster, I think you have fallen victim to this group.
Yes, I live rent-free in this group's head. I'm in some of their lyrics. I have appeared on some of their posters advertising some of their concerts, strapped to a rocket going off into the air. So yeah, this group is vehemently anti-British. They hate the British. They make no secret about that. I think
they are from Northern Ireland.
They're from Northern Ireland. They're from West Belfast. The point is, though, as Stephen has rightly said, of course people have a right to free speech. People have a right to say nasty things. There's not a law against offending people, and my goodness, they've offended a lot of people in their time. But they've overstepped the mark, Ian, that's the point. They've gone into terrorism act positions insofar as they've breached, and as we know, the counter-terrorism police are looking into this at the moment in relation to alleged support for Hamas, alleged support for Hezbollah. They make it very...
They're now denying.
It's taken out of context, apparently. I'm not sure there is a context where you could... Well, they've been pictured reading books from Nasrallah and been very open about their support, as they are for their support for the IRA. And I thought it was very telling that when they put out their very limited apology, which they put out late last night, that it was two very specific MPs' families that they apologised for causing the hurt to. They didn't apologise for causing hurt to MPs who'd been murdered by the IRA. There was no mention of Erin Eve's family. There was no mention of Robert Bradford's family. You know what I mean? So they're very specific in who they apologise to. And for many years now, they have been very much pro-Republican terrorism. They dress up as DJ Provo. They call themselves Kneecap, which of course is a paramilitary style of control of young people that has been used right across Northern Ireland, but most specifically in urban areas of Belfast. So they make no secret of that. So the point is they have overstepped the mark, and therefore I think it's perfectly legitimate for MPs who are representatives in the House of Commons to say to promoters of music festival, be very careful that these people are inciting young people in a particular way.
DUP and DRP. That
New party for me.
Yeah. And you were First Minister.
Yeah.
I mean, security was presumably constantly in the upper bit of your mind because you were experiencing it the whole time.
Well, I think if you come from Northern Ireland, and I grew up surrounded by security because my father was a police officer who was targeted by the IRA and survived an attempted murder attack at our home. So you're constantly aware of your own security. I think if you come from Northern Ireland and you become involved in public life, I think that has become even more targeted against young women now, particularly because of the online abuse. And I think that obviously more women are abused online than men. I think most of us understand that. And it's very difficult to get women to step forward into public life now because I've had this said to me when I was trying to encourage some young women to get involved in council level work. They said, no, we couldn't put ourselves through that. We couldn't put our family through that. I think that's wrong for democracy, and we have to have people willing to come forward. And I would always encourage people to get involved in public life. It's a great honour, it's a great privilege, and it's so enjoyable. Yes, it has its challenges, don't get me wrong, but it's wrong that young women feel now maybe we shouldn't do this to our family and to ourselves.
I think the odd thing about this whole situation with Kneecap is that, I mean, I don't know how old they are, but I've seen a picture of them. They look as if they were probably born after the Good Friday Agreement in 1998. And you think, well, why do you have this hatred now? I could possibly understand it if it was at the height of the Troubles.
Well, the fact of the matter is one of their members is a 36-year-old former teacher. And you have to say to yourself, what is going on
no
here?
Hope, really. You know, thank God he's a former teacher.
I mean, the point of it is this. If we want to move forward in Northern Ireland, it's about reconciliation. Now, reconciliation is not rejecting who I am or who my opponent is. but it's about trying to understand where your opponent's coming from, have conversations. Stephen, right? I don't agree with him in terms of his constitutional views on the United Kingdom. That doesn't mean that we can't have a conversation and be open about those views. I think there needs to be more of a focus on reconciliation, particularly in Northern Ireland, and not a bitterness and more division and more hate being put forward.
Another point that Arlene makes.
19 minutes past 8 on LBC. Baroness Arlene Foster is with us. Baroness, did you ever think, growing up in Belfast, that you would end up as a baroness?
Well, I didn't grow up in Belfast. I grew up in a very rural part of Northern Ireland called County Fermanagh, so I definitely didn't think I'd be coming across here as a baroness, let alone a dame.
Well, indeed. Yeah, see, exactly. I still think of you as dame, but you can't be Dame Baroness, can you? So, and what's your? I mean, you've been there a few months now. What's your initial impressions?
No, I've been there since November 22.
Was it? Oh, right.
Yeah, so I've been there for over 2 years. Do you know what? I really do think that the work of the House of Lords, and I would say this, wouldn't I, is underestimated because we do a lot of detailed scrutiny. So today we're doing the Employment Rights Bill, and you want to hear some of the debate over there today. It's really very detailed. You know, the head of Next, Lord Wolfson, is there giving his views on part-time workers. You know, it's really all very informed pieces of information coming forward. I think you need a mixture. You definitely need a mixture because you can't have everybody in their 60s and 70s being MPs, and you can't have everybody being in their 20s. You have to have a mixture of experience.
Absolutely. To represent all of society.
The whole point of a parliament is it draws people from a wide range of backgrounds, ages, obviously from different parts of the United Kingdom.
I actually think that it's nothing to do with Mark Carney and it's everything to do with Trump, that the Conservatives must be absolutely incandescent with rage with the way in which Trump has handled this election.
The Conservative leader's lost his seat.
I know.
But Carney was very straightforward to his credit.
It's absolutely, he played it straightforward. He didn't have much to do, frankly. You know, the Conservatives have lost that election because of Trump. And if I was a Conservative leader, he's lost his seat as well. I mean, it's incredible. It just shows you the power of how things can turn on because they were going to win that election. Very clearly win the election with a landslide. And now they've lost it. How devastating is that for them?
Well, let's turn to the member who has most experience of it, because it's I don't know when it first came in Northern Ireland, but does it decrease turnout?
No, it absolutely does not decrease turnout. We've had some of the highest turnouts in general elections than anywhere else in the United Kingdom, so it doesn't reduce turnout, and actually it is really good to get people to come forward, get their ID and go and vote. I mean, I was sitting listening to a debate on this in the House of Lords, and I could not understand for the life of me why people were opposed to voter ID. It has made a huge difference to battling fraud in Northern Ireland. And fraud was a real issue for us in Northern Ireland during elections. People would turn up in a different hat or whatever and come in to vote again. So it has stopped all of that. I am fundamentally in favour of voter ID. I absolutely agree with that. And I mean, I do think that we need not be blind as well to the control which Hamas has in Gaza and the fact that a lot of the aid is not actually getting to the people who, Stephen, we want it to get to. Of course, we want the aid
Israel
to get.
Has stopped. The UN said that as well.
UNRWA is no. I mean, we have heard a lot of very bad reports around UNRWA, there has been many pieces of evidence given in relation to UNRWA, in particular. UNRWA really needs to be taken out. Yes, that's absolutely right.
Depriving them of food and drink and under siege is a breach of international law.
Yes, and so is what's happening with UNRWA, and I think they need to be taken out of the equation. We need to absolutely get away in for the aid. I want to see aid getting into Gaza as well, but we cannot avoid talking about the control that Hamas has in Gaza in relation to the aid. They are controlling a lot of the aid when it gets there, and it's not actually getting to. Well, I believe there's a vacancy now with Kneecap because they've lost an agent, so I think he could be a really good agent for Kneecap.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, hold that thought.